welcome back. No, just kidding. Welcome back to the TPD YouTube channel. So we've got our FK8 on the dyno this morning, and we're going to be doing some things with that. We've got a new development secret sauce turbo on there that we've actually been working on for quite a while, but we've only managed to sort of get it on and get testing happening now. So what we're actually doing is we've had it on there for a little while. The car's probably done some learning and stuff, so we want to see how or if anything has changed. So I'm looking forward to going through this with you today and see how it goes.
Alright, I am logging what this car is doing. We've got some logs from the previous run when we fitted the turbo. As JP has probably mentioned already, it's a secret sauce turbo that we've been working on for a while. We've had it on the car, he's done a few 100Ks on it on the road, and it's just back on the dyno. I'm just comparing logs, just checking that the boost pressure's all equaling the same target that we have in the tune. Checking mixtures, checking timing, just making sure everything's looking safe, and power's pretty much on the money on what it was a week or so ago. So yeah, can we get some OnlyFans before we all gas ourselves?
On the dyno. This one won't make us any money.
Done some learning. It's a lot hotter today.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Like those runs there, we're starting to run at like 22, 23 degrees. So
yeah, but if we look at I'll just show pairs. So peak so far, I'll just show everyone. We're not finished yet, and this is also only a development piece. So that was the peak power we got last time, and that's only on sort of 1.55, 1.5 bar. So that's engine, it's wheel down here, so 312. But what we are going to do is we're going to take an average, because I don't think peak's really representation of what the car can actually do, because it'll do that one run when it's cold, and then you keep repeating it, and it will pull a little bit of power until it becomes stable. So we just did a few runs then, so that's probably a better representation of once the car's sort of up to temp, everything's hot. You can see that we're not actually running that much boost, it's tapering down. So peak is 1.5 bar, which is actually factory boost now. Whereas when we were pushing the car really hard before, got to find the right run. As I was saying before, Dan rudely interrupted me with a dyno call. We're looking at averages for this car. We're trying to deliver maximum power, bolt-on solution and reliability. So that run there was after the run that Dan just did, then it had cooled down. So again, it's going to be back up in power. But what I wanted to show you is, this is where we used to run the car before. It was hitting a peak of 2 bar, so pretty much 30 pounds, to achieve the same power output. A little bit less, but yeah, same power output. And what was happening is obviously the cars get hot. Everyone knows that FK8s get hot, so this turbo solution that we're trying to engineer for this platform is to run less boost, less heat, same power. So you can see now we're only running factory boost levels on a bigger turbo, and we're making the same power, if not a little bit more. The dyno fan doesn't really emulate air going over the car as well as it would do out in the wild. So we know that that car will have a bit more consistent power when it's out on the racetrack or out on the road. But for the testing that we can do here, what we've done, I think, is a fantastic upgrade for this car. So I'm really looking forward to finish doing the testing, actually get the product out to the market eventually. I hope you guys can sort of see where the improvements are over that, over the original boost setting. It's going to be a lot nicer on the rods, the engine, everything. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, touch on about the what JP mentioned about the dyno fan and the airflows. The dyno fan simulates around about 80-90 kilometers of an airflow into the front of the radiator or intercooler. And just to give you an idea, we're running this car up to 170k an hour. So anything past about 4,000 RPM, anything beyond 4,000 RPM, we're at higher road speed. So, which is why you notice here the boost drops off. Particularly in this map here, running the Bosch ECU, they do have safety limits that will have a target boost level depending on the intake temperature. So as the intake temperature starts increasing, the boost will start dropping off a little bit, and it's just to try and maintain a healthy intake temp. So, which is why we're seeing a little bit of a drop. If we could have consistent airflow going into this car, and we're increasing the airflow as the RPM or the road speed increases, so say at 170k an hour, we have actual 170k of airflow going through the front of that intercooler, we would probably see a lot flatter boost curve there. So when we're logging on the road, so for example JP might be driving, I'll be sitting there with the laptop, we'll be monitoring the boost, it's pretty consistent. So with this turbo setup at the moment, we're seeing around about mid to high 30 degrees is what we're seeing on the original run. The ambient temperature on that day was about 19-20 degrees. We're up around about 24-25 degrees today, so we're about 6 degrees higher, which we're seeing starting off at about 36-37 degrees on intake temps today, and we're peaking at about 43-44. So we are seeing higher intake temps, which is why we're seeing a slight drop in power. But as JP, we're looking for averages, we're looking at boost level, I'm looking on the logs on what time he's doing, we're looking at what fuel and AFR's doing, and comparing to those previous logs, which I was just doing in the car there, we're pretty much all the same. So I'm happy with where it's at. Boost level targets are all the same. So we're only seeing a slight drop in power of around about 10-15 kilowatts, but that's all temp related, because colder air, more oxygen dense, better combustion, more power. So when the air intake, when the air temperatures increase, we obviously have less oxygen in that air, less oxygen density, so we don't have as good of a compression, combustion in the cylinders, which is why we're having a slight drop in power. So, which is one of the things we have to look at from tuning. So when we're doing work on a car, and say for example we do a base run, we do some modifications to the car on the hoist or whatnot, put it back onto the dyno, we have to take into account what the ambient temperatures are on the day. There are some corrections in dynos that will do some air temp correction, and we do have some stuff here. As you can see, we have weather station correction which takes into account humidity, temperature and all that, and we'll try and adjust. But for big changes in temperature, which 6 degrees is a big change, you will see some changes.